Hey guys, what's going on? Today I wanted to go over Atozi's recent interview with a Beast Games contestant. Now, this isn't his real voice. He goes over it earlier in the video that he changes his voice, so don't think this is what the person sounds like or anything like that. But I just wanted to go through a few things that they said that I find hilariously bad to even say. So, Mr. Beast opened up a website where you could apply to be in the Beast Games and touted and said that this game would, or the Beast Games was going to be supposedly randomized and that no one, like, basically it's the same things that he's lied about before, where it's not random contestants. It never was random contestants. It's people he knows, people he talks to, people his friends know, and stuff like that. So no surprise there, really. The next part is here. Okay, so if you just needed something that badly, why don't you just go get it? What are they going to do? Tell you no? He later goes on in the video and states that they were basically locked inside this stadium, and if you wanted to leave the stadium, that you would lose your spot inside the game. So, that being said, imagine you yourself having $5 million on the line and being told you can't go to the bathroom because you need to leave the stadium to go to the bathroom, and in order to do that, you have to disqualify yourself from the game. How brain dead do you have to be? I didn't think it was that hard or that difficult to understand, but they couldn't go get their things. You said that they were locked inside the stadium once you got there. It was up to the producers and the people that ran the show to get you these things responsibly, which evidently didn't happen. That was the coolest thing, really, about a $5 million on the line for the Mr. Beast, most famous fucking Beast Games show in the entire fucking world. This is supposed to be the hypest thing, and the coolest thing about it. Let's hear it again, real quick. What kind of basement dwelling dude is this? Does he not go to any kind of social events? I'm sorry, but I don't think the Beast Games was supposed to be a social event. I thought it was supposed to be a contest. Kind of weird, right? So he later mentions that when they leave the hotels and they go to the stadium, they took their phones. So how are they supposed to contact or call anybody when their phones were taken from them? Again, it doesn't make sense. How? Next spot I have here, 9 minutes here. People didn't know when to go to the bathroom. But later he also says that they were told they weren't allowed to go to the bathroom whenever they wanted, but then they were. it again, it doesn't make sense. This guy, he's contradicting himself multiple times here. So clearly, a clear unfair advantage is happening right here. Instead of the production team stepping in and handling it as they should have by either handing contestants color coded timestamps or color coded cards, like it would have been very simple to do this by getting some poster card or something card stock that's colored of the same color of jerseys and hand them out to contestants and be like, listen, whatever card you got, that's the color jersey you get. So that way it's not unfair. It's not all the men on one specific team. It's not all the girls on one specific team. Because in a physical competition, that just leads to unfair. I'm sorry, but it does. Like, you cannot sit here and say that the guys running up, grabbing the jerseys and handing them out to their other friends is anywhere near fair. And certain people clearly just got carried through the competition, which I'm guessing this guy did too, because he goes on later and states that he made it to the next version of the contest, which is in Canada. So he's referring to the rope game that they had, where they have two teams, one team here, 200 people on each side. So 400 people. When you have 400 people lined up in a baseball state or in a football stadium, you're going to have them literally end to end. So what happens when one team starts pulling on the rope and starts winning? Obviously, the people on this side get closer to the middle of the field, while the people on this side get farther towards the edge of the field. So whenever they are already starting at the end of the field over way over here, and then they're coming this way, where are these teams supposed to go? But it's not the fault of any one individual to not realize that when people start pulling, they're going to have less and less room over here, inevitably leading to injuries because people aren't going to just drop the rope and walk away because $5 million are on the line. They need to win this rope pull or they're out of the contest. So they're going to pull the rope till literally no room left. And then they're going to pile on top of each other. And then what's going to happen? People get hurt. People get injured. Just shows the absolute incompetency that was happening here at the first portion of the Beast Games because we don't necessarily. Apparently, everyone's saying the second one in Canada was much better. Hey, just so you know, why wouldn't they do it? Obviously, they wouldn't do it if they don't know where your medication is, which you later go on to state that they lost people's medication. So who's to say they didn't lose this person's seizure medication? Because in case he doesn't know how epilepsy works, it works differently for every person that has it roughly. No one case is usually the exact same. Everybody suffers a little bit differently. And 90% of people that I know took medication daily or some form of medication daily or weekly to help deal with the symptoms and not cause a seizure. So for them to deny this person's medication for even 2 days puts them at a much larger risk to have a seizure. So to sit here and say it's not any one person's fault that this person's being denied their seizure medication and then inevitably ends up having a seizure, that was somebody's fault. Yes, seizures randomly happen, But if the person's being denied their medication first, you can't say that it's not the fault of the Beast Games. Because if this person would have had their medication, there's a higher chance they wouldn't have had the seizure to begin with. So there's no proof that they had a seizure because they were denied medication, but you constantly contradict yourself and say how they lost medication, how people were denied their medication for days in a row, how people were denied their undergarments, how people sat in bloody period pads for 2, 3, 4 days in a row. It's not making sense. It's not adding up. It's not. All right. So they slept on the floor in the stadium because they weren't allowed to leave, so they handed out a bunch of Coleman sleeping bags. So you're telling me about 400 calories for breakfast is good enough to compete in a physical activities while they're keeping you up for throughout the entire night, because he admits they had to stay up till 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning before they were eventually awoken. And you're having people stay up for 18 to 24 hours with 2, 3 meals of 400 to 600 calories apiece. So again, about 600 calories for your lunch. That's equivalent to an elementary schooler's lunch. And this is what we're feeding full-blown adults. 636 calories, I believe, is the recommended lunch for an elementary school student. They were barely being fed that. And these are 18 to 75-year-olds. Let's keep in mind that this is a suitable lunch for 8 to 12-year-olds, 6 to 12-year-olds, not 18 to 75-year-olds. So this guy goes on to state that women were denied their pads, denied their undergarments. He was denied his undergarments and changes of clothes. But it's okay because he's a man and it's acceptable for him to be able to go free balling in nasty underwear for 2, 3 days in a row. So he thought it was fun to not get a change of clothes for 2, 3 days. 3 days, him, other people longer, women on their periods went almost their entire period length without ever having to change, without ever having a change of a pad or a tampon, which, if you don't know, can lead to some serious problems. So, but it's okay because he was a guy and it's acceptable because he probably lives in his mom's basement anyway and wears the same underwear, wears the same socks, wears the same clothes for 4 or 5 days on his own volition anyway. I'm sorry that most people don't do that. But if you think some of the shit he said here is bad, please go watch Otozi's video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you like my video down over here. And let me know what you think. Because personally, I think this dude is absolutely disgusting. He downplayed so badly the actual reality of the situation, and to me, it's just it's nasty. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And again, go watch Atozi's video. Go watch more of his videos too. He's fucking awesome.